This is KGW News at noon.
Just a few minutes ago, President Biden announced that American troops will protect U.S. NATO allies when it comes to the situation between Russia and Ukraine. Welcome to today's News at Noon. I'm Drew Carney. That announcement by the president comes after Russian President Vladimir Putin received authorization from Russian lawmakers earlier today to use force outside the country. Western leaders say that Russian troops have already moved into rebel-held areas in eastern Ukraine after Putin recognized their independence. Today, the White House began officially referring to Russian troop deployments in eastern Ukraine as an invasion. That's a term U.S. officials had held off on using. Putin, meanwhile, has laid out 3 conditions to end the crisis that experts warn could lead Europe back into war. One is international recognition of Crimea as part of Russia. Another is an end to Ukraine's NATO membership bid. And the third condition is a halt to shipments of weapons there. Western leaders see Russia's annexation of Crimea as a violation of international law and have rejected the idea of permanently barring Ukraine from NATO. All right, here's one of our other top national headlines this afternoon. A federal jury in Georgia found all 3 men convicted of killing Ahmaud Arbery, guilty, that is, of all charges. Those charges include hate crime charges. Back in February of 2020, father and son Greg and Travis McMichael and their neighbor, William Roddy Bryan, chased Arbery through their coastal Georgia neighborhood in trucks. The 3 men spotted Arbery running by their homes. They wound up cornering him. Then Travis McMichael fatally shot him. The jury found that the men violated Arbery's civil rights and targeted him because he was black. All right, let's get to some local headlines now. We have more information this afternoon about the deadly shooting that happened in Northeast Portland over the weekend. Friends are mourning the loss of a Portland woman who was shot and killed Saturday night. So this all happened during a rally for racial justice. And friends are describing 60-year-old June Knightley as a bright light. They say she was a person that stood up for others. Multiple sources tell KGW that Knightley was at the rally for racial justice at Normandale Park when she was shot and killed Saturday. Police confirmed her identity just earlier today. Knightley leaves behind a wife and an adult son. Multiple reports also say that a man who lived near the park fired at a group that was rerouting traffic ahead of a planned march. Police have also now identified a suspect in the shooting. The suspect's name is Benjamin Smith. Authorities say he's in the hospital in serious condition. Friends say Knightley, whose nickname was T-Rex, would often provide security during these protests or direct traffic to protect demonstrators.
She just had that demeanor about her to keep everyone calm and keep everyone safe. And she was just this bright light of a motherly figure as well. And that's why everybody had just warmed up to her almost immediately because of what she did for everybody else.
Let's get back to the suspect in the shooting for a moment. A family member told the Oregonian that the suspect, again now identified by police as Benjamin Smith, had grown increasingly upset with the protests across the city and in his neighborhood. His roommate also told the Oregonian this quote that we're showing you here, and I'll summarize for you. The quote was, "He has been getting more and more radicalized by the years as the years went by. He went from extremely anti-police to pro-police in the last year." The roommate also mentioned that he kept 4 guns in his room. A lot of people, meanwhile, have been criticizing city and state leaders for not speaking out against the violence that happened this past weekend. Today, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler broke the silence, saying he is grieving along with Portland families.
This was a deadly, difficult, and disturbing weekend for our city. I want to note with deep sadness the injuries and the terrible loss of life the collective Portland families endured.
Investigations into many of this weekend's shootings are still going on. We'll continue to update you as we get those updates. You can also keep up to date on our website, kgw.com. Also happening downtown, Portland police have arrested a 21-year-old man accused of a deadly assault. They say Elijah Williams attacked a homeless man near Northwest 3rd and Gleason back on February 13th. 46-year-old James Wise died from his injuries. The attack happened just outside Blanchet House. That's a nonprofit that offers food and shelter to the homeless. Blanchet House has been doing that for years. Police, though, have not released any more information about a possible motive in this case. From there, we want to go to Sherwood and a tragic story that happened there over the weekend. Police say a driver hit and killed 2 children on the sidewalk just before 7 o'clock Sunday night. This happened across just along Southwest Edie Road near Trailblazer Place. Now we know that the girls were hit were 11 and 16 years old. Police say there's no indication that the driver was speeding. That person is cooperating with investigators. And we've also just learned that 5 teenagers are now facing charges for a brutal attack that happened in Sweet Home. It happened just last week. This video we're showing you shows a group of older teens punching and kicking a 13-year-old. That 13-year-old has autism. He suffered a black eye and a few cuts. 4 of the teens charged are minors. One of them is 18. Well, a new bill in Oregon would allow people in jail, prison, or a correctional facility to vote in any election. House Bill 4147 would allow them to register and vote while they're still behind bars. They'd also receive all election materials, including ballots and voter pamphlets. Supporters of the bill say people should be able to vote while serving time, but others disagree.
They have opinions as well that matter. The more the merrier. Everyone should have the right to vote.
People who have committed violent crimes are outside the society of regular people for that purpose, and that is kind of why they should not be allowed to vote. But once they have finished the sentence, of course, they should be accepted back fully into the society.
This bill is part of the short legislative session that's happening in Oregon right now. That session ends in just 2 weeks. And lawmakers have also introduced 2 new bills to curb illegal pot grows in southern Oregon. The Oregonian reports the first bill would make it harder for unlicensed growers to secure water for their crops. That bill now heads to the Senate. Another measure would temporarily stop the ability to get a license to grow hemp. The Senate passed that last week, so tomorrow it's set to go before a House committee. Well, it is hard to miss all the graffiti in the metro area. It's even on road signs now. And ODOT says they do have a plan to do something about it. The agency awarded $2 million in contracts for litter and graffiti cleanup in Portland. ODOT hopes the money will help crews clean up with all the calls that they're getting. It's a lot of calls, so the keep up here is definitely a task that they're ready to undertake. They say it takes up to 15 years to completely replace road signs, but the newer signs come with anti-graffiti treatments, making them easier to clean. They say, bottom line here, keeping up with tigers is not easy.
I wish they had a squad whose only job was to clean it, and another squad whose only job was to catch people doing it.
ODOT says that's a job for police. If you report a problem with the traffic sign, you can call 866-ASK-ODOT. That's 866-ASK-ODOT. All right, meanwhile, all lanes of I-84 in eastern Oregon are back open this afternoon after this massive pileup we talked about yesterday. This crash involved almost 100 cars. It shut down I-84 in both directions there for more than 8 hours. Drivers heading that way should expect reduced speed still. You can also expect to see lane restrictions and crews still along the freeway throughout the course of the day today. The other big weather story right now is the cold weather in the metro area. It has emergency shelters reopening. Washington County opened shelters at the Salvation Army building in Hillsboro and the Beaverton Community Center. Multnomah County, meanwhile, plans to open warming shelters today as well. More information about all of this is available by either calling 211 or visiting them online, 211info.org. So, Rod, let's talk about just how low the temperatures are going to get around here.
Yeah, we still expect at least some areas to get down to record levels tonight. So if you don't have any wind at your place tonight, I think it's going to be fairly easy for you to get down near 20. Now, there is a big question whether the winds overall will get calm enough, even in spotty locations, for that to happen. I mean, if you just look out the window, what a beautiful day, right? Here's the Rose City with blue skies up top. We're currently sitting at 36 degrees, which is what my forecast projected high was for today. I've now lifted that to 38, but I don't think we're going to warm up much more than what we currently have. Here are the other current numbers. We thought Salem might get up to 40. You're sitting there right now. Kelso 37. Similar numbers at the coast. 18 over in Bend. It's 19 degrees out in Pendleton. That snow has has ended, by the way. They had some light snow this morning, but that's pretty much gone over the Blue Mountains. So your planner moving forward, we get up to around 38. I just don't think we're going to go up much warmer, so we'll still be around 36 at 4 as the sun angle starts to come back down, and we'll be around 30 degrees, already below freezing at 8 p.m. Here's what the winds are doing. It's an east wind. These are sustained. So Troutdale and along the Columbia River have been gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. Otherwise, if you have a little bit of wind at 5 miles per hour, you probably have an occasional gust of 15 to 20 at your place. And then Drew asked about the low temperatures tonight, which many could be records. So here's a forecast projection at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. This shows Portland at 23. That would be a record. 22 in Salem. 8 below up at Timberline. And Drew, it's the Cascades where there are advisories out for dangerously cold weather. Wind chills well below zero up there, cold enough for frostbite. We'll talk more about the mountain extreme temperatures in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.